going to be wrong.
Well, what worries me about this is that in Revelations, it does talk about that unless the times were made short, that even the elect would be deceived. That means even the smartest people would be deceived by what is going to take place. And you see this happening all the time where we can't tell a truth from a lie.
Sure.
It's become so close and so convincing that you cannot see the difference. And the reason that I believe that it will be accepted is because the Jews are looking for their Messiah. If for some reason, as we are seeing, especially in the United States, Christian beliefs and numbers are dwindling, and in doing so, if there was some way to abort your ability to understand truth, and that's where I go into my research as to how the pineal gland will be used by Satan, the power of the air, to actually allow you to believe the deception. You will not be able to question it.
So it's
and I go into detail.
Excuse me if I'm interrupting here, but so you're saying that the pineal gland that was put in our bodies by God then is going to be used by Satan in order to deceive us.
And it has been being used by Satan to deceive us.
Okay.
And I fully believe that is why in the book of Revelation it tells you that 144,000 will be sealed in their forehead, because in the forehead is where that gland is, and if it's not sealed, you cannot stop the transmission. In doing the research on psychological warfare, and there are a lot of particle beam kind of theories and things that can be thrown at you psychologically, subliminally, and things like that, that you can actually, at a distance, through your pineal gland, control your breathing, your heart rate, your ability to panic. You will see hallucinations. You can actually run a person crazy, even using harmonics where you have a certain beat that continues to pound in your head. It will run you crazy.
Sure.
So the technology that's out there right now, that I've been, and I express it in my book and explain it. I mean, people can go look at it and see what it will do to them. It definitely will have a play in this. One of the biggest concerns I have is the new Vera chip, the implant chip that they're wanting to put into people.
Sure.
Because in some of the nanotechnology work that I have done, I'm seeing that it has a robotic capability of being in place maybe in the forearm, but then it can be moved into the forehead where it cannot be removed. In other words, you cannot remove it.
Sure.
If it gets into that area, solidifies itself as part of the flesh there, and that's getting to be the big thing, is that they're using flesh in these nanotechnology things where the flesh actually encompasses itself and becomes part of the robot or the Vera chip.
Well, sure. I mean, there have been developments now within the fact that the tiniest, interface between a computer and a human is basically down to the DNA level microprocessors that are, so tiny, nanoscale, that they can interface with you in that way. So I hear what you're saying regarding the Vera chip and so forth, but what I'm seeing is that they totally are going to bypass that technology altogether and actually move into another type of technology, which means that you actually just have to go outside and breathe, basically, and you can get this into your system. So it's obviously this is going to be very difficult to stand against, so to speak, if this is what is in the works.
Right, and I think that's why it's so important that the moment that we were given free will, we had a choice. But if free will is ever taken away from our bodies, we are robots.
Sure.
And a person walks in and says, I'm this, people will flock to him for help or whatever and never question it. Even right now, you hear our politicians, especially in our country, will stand and say, well, we would all unite together if we thought that there was a threat from an alien, invasion.
Sure.
Because we're humans. But then if you could be deceived by Satan to believe these things, and you thought they were happening, and nobody could save you, and a man walks up and says, this is who I am, and I've got these great miracles, and I can do da-da-da this. If a statue of Mary starts bleeding, people flocked to it from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a man that said, I am him, I can prove I am him, and I can do these things, then, again, the truth from the lie and the ability for the technology there to keep you from having the free will, there's just too many things that point to what the Bible says is going to happen in the end. I think if the elite are not taken out of here, either by a rapture or a second coming, you couldn't survive against Satan.
But, I mean, these things that you have been describing and talking about in regards to the book of Revelations and what is occurring, if this indeed is the message from God, and if this is the true revelation of what is going to happen on planet Earth, then these things must happen in order for Jesus Christ to come back, right?
That's right.
So, I mean,
why? I think that's why. Well, the reason I say that, why is Satan going to do that? It's his last stand. It's just like when Jesus came to earth the first time and he drove out the demon, and the demon said, "Why have you come before the time? It's not time for you to show up yet."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They know that they've got a certain time. That's why all these things will start happening so fast, because it's his last chance. The intent of Satan, he knows he's an eternal being. We are all eternal beings. We may either go to heaven or we may go to hell if there is a great judgment, as the Bible says.
Mm-hmm.
But once energy is made, it can never be destroyed. So if, let's just say, paradise for you would be constant wonder, whatever, where hell for the other person will be constant dying, because it's like your body can be, it's like holographic. You can put that together, reburnt, put that together, reburnt. I mean, it's an ongoing process. It can never be like gone away. So I think people don't realize that even though Satan knows his time limit, he wants these. He has never liked humanity. He doesn't like anybody. He just wants to use you against the Creator. But at the same time, if you follow him, and there is a judgment that we know the Bible says will happen one day, then there's the chance that you may burn with him forever. But it's not going to be a fun thing. And he's not, he knows his time frame. But he doesn't want us to know that he knows the time frame. But he knows the time frame, because those demons specifically said to Jesus, "You have come before the time."
So these things are on one level, I guess, frightening to a person with obviously, a Christian background and so forth, and to other people that don't have that too. But to people that have a Christian background, they must also feel a little bit kind of excited about all these things happening, even that they are terrible, because this means that Jesus is coming back, basically, right?
That's right. And really, even in the Muslim religion, it specifically says that, that Jesus was born of a virgin, that he will return, that he's going to return. And they talk about the Mahdi being a part of that. I mean, there is definitely going to be a return. And the question that I leave the people who read my research is that you have a choice. And right now, while you hear about this, if you're not real sure about it, my intent is to educate you enough in my research to make you go out and find out for yourself, what is it that I really believe? And if something does happen like this, which side of the fence do I want to be on? I mean, I think it comes back down to there's only one responsibility, and that really is to you and between you and God. Do you choose him? Do you choose the other way? If you choose the other way, what are the consequences? I mean, my research is to make you think about all these things and be informed, instead of going, well, I guess I can believe like Joe Blow down the road down there, but that's not, or join a secret society because it'll get me ahead. Or make sure you know what you're a part of. Make sure you know what you're associating yourself with. Make sure if you're in a religion that's not a Christian religion, that you take a look at it and see and make sure. Where did it start? How did it come about? What was it involved with? It's the intent to know who you are, and that if you do have eternity out there, How do you want to spend it if this does happen, that like the Bible says it's going to happen?
You know, there are some people out there that have been suggesting that there are very powerful people, so to speak, that are within government structure, within politics, within business too, that have not the same ideology or theology, but a similar one, meaning that they have also in kind of a religious interest in actually bringing about the end times, because they know what this actually might mean in the long run, meaning that Jesus is going to return and so forth, but that this also is helping to create the world scenario as things are right now. What do you say to kind of an idea like that? Do you think that is the case today?
Well, I have actually heard many different people talk about that there are some people who they think are trying to set up what is going to happen. I do believe that the powers that be are very connected to the secret societies and that they do know the timeline. They are committed to it. If they are Satanists, they are Satanists. If they are Luciferians, they are Luciferians. And if they're from those Canaanite bloodlines, then their intent is to bring Satan. They sell their soul for the purpose of the here and now. And, I don't sell my soul for the purpose of here and now, so it's kind of hard for me to go, I understand that. But there are people who do that. And so whatever the agenda is, they're willing to die for it. Because once you, start out in the secret society, you may think, well, I'm doing this as fun, and it's for the, charities or whatever. But once you get to a certain level, you take a step from being in a religious kind of mode of, church or whatever, and you step into a Luciferian side. If you want to stay the other way, they shake your hand and you're very happy you got 33rd degree, and that's great. But the next levels above that are only for those people who are willing to say, I will die for this cause, I will put Satan first, I'm going to do this for him, and he's going to reward me in the here and now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all they're after, is the here and now, because they can feel it, see it, it's tangible, and lots of times they don't want to believe that there's anything that's going to happen to them, because that's what Satan wants them to believe, that once they die it's just over, so live now kind of thing. They don't stop and do the research that I've done, let's say, in physics and chemistry and alchemy, and understand that the body, thermodynamics, those kinds of things, that once energy is created, it never goes away. So the ability to make you be punished forever, is the capability's there. I mean, to die and re-die and burn. I mean, it's almost scary when you think about it. And there are some people, because I have done a lot of research into near-death experiences, where people not all went to see the great white light and felt really good and fuzzy and saw people, that they thought were family and friends. There's a lot that have actually seen the other side of the coin, and their things that they tell are very, it's absolutely make your skin crawl. So, again, my research is there because I'm not a preacher, and I'm not, a theologian. I'm an educator, and my intent, again, is to restore your understanding because of all these things that are out there where you can't, find your way, is to try to present it to you and then allow you to make up your mind.
Sure.
If I'm in a secret society, do I want to stay there? Is this what I really want?
I want to talk a little bit about 2012, what potentially might be coming there, and also a little bit about Prince William, because we have been talking a little bit about the royal bloodlines and so forth, and how this might be connected. I guess straight out, my kind of the picture I'm getting, so to speak, here also is the fact that Prince William is being set up to take the role of the person that you have been describing as the Antichrist. Is this the case, do you think?
Yes, it is. It is the case, and again, we talk about the Arthurian legend, and of course, William's next name is Arthur. And it'd be interesting if he became King Arthur.
Sure, exactly. Yeah, and another idea also that kind of, at least supports the idea that Prince William is going to be potentially king in around